What's going on, everyone? So, Los Angeles Lakers have been linked to the Brooklyn Nets on various trades, right? Obviously, it's because Brooklyn has made deals with the Lakers in the past, most recently Dorian Finney-Smith, but also Sean Marks as well as Rob Pelinka have a very good relationship. And you usually work with the people that you're comfortable with, you're familiar with, right? Especially if you can pull out deals. Now, Lakers are mostly linked to Nick Claxton. That seems to be the main target. Some murmurs about, maybe working on a sign and trade for a Day'Ron Sharpe. Can you maybe get a Cam Johnson and a Nick Claxton in the deal? Can you work something out, right? That would be great. That would be fantastic. But one of the things that I'd really like to see the Lakers maybe look to do, whether it's as part of a Nick Claxton trade or even if you go elsewhere for the center position and just look to trade for the Brooklyn Nets picks, that would be fantastic. So Brooklyn, there are several teams that have several picks. I've talked about the Spurs. Can you maybe go get the 14th pick? But Brooklyn literally has 4 picks in the first round on top of a 36th pick in the second round. So, nearly 5 first round picks, right? So if you're the Lakers, I don't think you'll be able to get the 8th pick. 19th, maybe. If not, they have the 26th and the 27th pick, back-to-back picks. Can you get maybe both or one of those, right? And then, the 36th in the second round. Maybe you could get that. Maybe you could do, the 26th and the 36th, right? Maybe you're trading the 55th pick and, a future pick or something like that, right? Like, I don't hate the idea of the Lakers, and I've talked about it, moving into this draft. This draft is a very deep, versatile draft that has many guys that are, known, and then even some that are going to be, that are a bit unknown or not as like hyped up, right? Especially in the later rounds. Obviously, when you're talking about an NBA draft, it's always a crapshoot regardless, right? It's always something that, even number 1 picks flop more often than are successful, right? And, that's not counting the random 26th pick that ends up just becoming the best player in the draft or one of the top 3 players in the draft. And you look back and it's like, man, how did that guy fall to 26th? Or, you get scenarios where, you see it every year. A guy is supposed to, Dalton Connect was as high as like top 5 in the last year's draft and ended up falling all the way to 17th for the Lakers, right? So it's very possible that there could be something that a player falls. Lakers also have so many needs, and they need youth. They need athleticism. They need good versatility out there. Now, it's harder to trade for a first round pick than it is like a second round pick. But also, again, like, don't focus on the lottery pick. Obviously, if you can get the 8th pick, that'd be awesome. But to me, I'm not even worried about that. Can you get the 19th, the 26th, the 27th? All 3, just 2, just 1, right? Now, I know Brooklyn is a team that wants to kind of hit the reset button, hit the rebuild button. But are they really looking to bring in like 6 rookies? You know what I mean? Like, are they really looking to bring in, because is that counting the other second round? Like, is that counting, other players that they take off of trades for trading it? Like, what, are they just going to cut and waive a bunch of guys and do like, so to me, it's like they're probably a team that's going to have to trade one, if not multiple of those picks. Could you turn Dalton Connect into 2 of those firsts, right? Could you turn Dalton Connect into like the 19th and 27th pick? Then the Lakers could look to trade maybe one of those. And now you have 2 firsts that you could trade to go get something else. And then, maybe draft a guy, or maybe you're drafting both guys, right? It's just a thought. I'm not saying, I know some people would not want to trade Dalton Connect regardless, but it's just a thought, right? Just using that more as an example than like, hey, go do that, right? My point is, can you work something out, whether it's through a Nick Claxton trade or a trade independently, where it's like, hey, we'll trade you. The problem is the Lakers don't have an abundance of picks, which means you'd have to probably trade a player, right? Now, look, if you could turn Austin Reeves into like the 8th and 19th pick along with like Nick Claxton, right? Like, let's say you did Rui and Reeves for the 8th pick, the 19th pick, Nick Claxton, and maybe like a Zaire Williams. I don't know if the Nets would do that. It kind of sounds like a bit of an overpay for Austin Reeves, if I'm being honest, right? I know there's a lot of people that would think otherwise, right? But like, I mean, Austin Reeves is worth at least 2 firsts. Like he would go, like he's probably a lottery pick plus. I don't know about like Cooper Flag level, but you know, the 8th pick this is a deeper draft, but it's not so deep where it's like, man, the 8th pick, man, he's a surefire lock championship contender. But it's just, and I know people's argument is like, well, you know, you're losing the scoring and all that stuff that you'd get from him right now. But the Lakers, yes, they're trying to go for it now, but they're also trying to build around Luka Doncic for the future, right? They're trying to balance it out. You're not going to be able to balance it out, right? And if you are going to balance it out, it's going to be via, you know, something like this, where you're going and getting a bunch of young guys that can maybe help now and be development guys for the future, maybe even trade pieces later on. And you're going to go in free agency and then getting that guy, like I said, in a Nick Claxton or whatever, that's coming in and helping solve a need, right? That's how you balance it. But the Lakers are going to have to pick a direction regardless. And I just look at this and I'm like, man, if you could get, like, the Nets have to figure something out, right? Again, are they really going to draft like 5, 6, 7 guys? Probably not, right? So, you know, maybe you're taking the 2031 pick, but the problem is then you don't have any first to trade. I mean, you could trade those first, but it's like, you know, would they give you a first for Rui? Right? But they're a team that is probably likely looking to rebuild to tank, right? But maybe you get Nick Claxton in the deal. That's why, to me, I think it would make more sense to try to do a Nick Claxton deal where it's like, you know, okay, we want Nick Claxton. We'll give you the, you know, whatever, the 2031 pick and then salary match. And they're like, no, we want Dalton Connect. And it's like, no, you can't have Dalton Connect, right? Like, it doesn't make sense for us to trade Dalton Connect for Nick Claxton, right? And then you keep pushing, and then eventually you fall in like Nick Claxton and, you know, the 19th and 27th pick, or the 26th and 36th pick, right? So you're getting like those like early second round pick plus that, and you're trading, you know, like Rui, Connect, Gabe Vincent, and then, you know, 2 pick swaps or something like that. And it's like, oh man, Lakers gave up a lot for Nick Claxton. It's like, yeah, but they also got 2 lottery, or not lottery picks, but a first round pick and then an early second round pick plus their 55th pick to where they could go get a couple guys, right? And you look at guys that you could potentially get. I mean, if you could get like the 19th pick, then you could probably get like a Joan Beringer, right? Who's like a young, you know, 6'11", kind of high upside potential center type guy. You got Jace Richardson, who's projected to go and higher guys, right? Like, Lakers just need youth athleticism, obviously center position, you know, like a Thomas Sorber, right? Like, could you maybe get something like that depending if you get the 19th pick? And then, you know, there's tons of guys on the back end of this draft, early second round, that you could maybe get, right? I've talked about a couple. I'm going to continue to talk about a couple as we move closer to this upcoming draft. I'm definitely going to keep kind of tacking away, but I don't hate the idea of like turning, like, can you trade, like, Nets just have an abundance of picks. Are they really going to bring in 4, 5, 6? Again, they have just on the top 30, like, you talk about literally, like, you're talking 5 picks in the first 36, right? Like, it's just, they're going to bring in 5 rookies, even for a rebuilding team, even for a team that's trying to hit the reset button here. That's a lot of rookies, because they're still going to have guys regardless. You know, you're still going to have Day'Ron Sharpe, still going to have Clowney, you're still going to, you know, even if you trade Claxton to the Lakers, you know, you're still going to have like probably Cam Johnson, unless you can move Cam Johnson, right? You might be able to move some of the vets, but you're also probably going to have to take back players in those trades. So now you're waiving a bunch of guys, you're doing all this, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot. It's a lot for any team, right? Even a rebuilding team. Yeah, they have a bunch of guys falling off the books and stuff, but, you know, is that the route that they're going to go? If I'm the Lakers, I'm trying to find teams like that, right? I talked about San Antonio. Can you maybe work something out? If they miss out on Kevin Durant, can you maybe go and be like, hey, you know, would you trade? How badly do you want Austin Reeves? You know, like, that was a team that was very interested in Austin Reeves. Maybe you can work something out. Would they even trade at the number 2 pick for Austin Reeves? right? Maybe. I don't know. You never know what a team is willing to do. It's easy to be like, oh, absolutely not. They would not do that. Yeah, people said that about, Pau Gasol. People said that about, Luka Doncic. People said that about, like, you go down the list forever, right? Like, oh, no one would ever trade that. Like, and then they do, right? Like, it happens all the time. Teams have all kinds of reasons and logic and incentives and whatnot for why they do what they do. Right. So to me, I just look at a team like the Brooklyn Nets and I'm like, man, they have an abundance of picks in this draft to where you can go get some young athletes. Again, Lakers are going to have to be creative. They don't have to get outside the box. They need a lot of positions of need, and they just need youth and athleticism just to get you through even those guys don't even have to necessarily play come playoff time. You just need them to get you through the regular season. It's 82-game season. You need guys that can just be young athletes, go out there and hoop and win you some games. And then once you get to the playoffs, you can shrink it down to, your top 7-8 guys. It's fine. But go get some youth. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. I also enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.